In this episode, I want to talk about the personal protective equipment, or PPE, that we utilize in practical shooting. Before we get to the array of goodies in front of me, the most important piece of protective personal equipment is the brain. IPSC is fundamentally a very safe sport because of the safety rules and regulations, and they require a well-tuned brain, always engaged, in order to keep it that way. To help protect against the physical challenges one encounters on the shooting range, perhaps noise is the greatest danger inherent in any shooting activity. Selecting a good set of hearing protection is vitally important, and it can be hearing protectors or ear muffs similar to these, or simple ear plugs, or more advanced ear plugs like these electronic ones from 3M Peltor. The purpose of hearing protectors is to protect your ears against hearing loss, and sound can get in to damage your ears through the normal ear canal and then also through the bone behind your ear. So it's beneficial to use hearing protectors, ear muffs, to also protect that part of the bone behind your ears. There are certain disciplines and times where these might become impractical. They could be in your way, and that's where more compact, slimmer things that just fit in your ears do a pretty good job at offering you the protection. I personally only like to use these when I'm shooting a suppressed rifle. Otherwise, I do my best to always use full-sized, the bigger the better, hearing protectors. For many years, I've used these electronic ones from Dylan, and the advantage of electronics is that it allows you to hear conversations and range commands clearly while still offering good protection against the excessive noise of gunfire. These were particularly beneficial being fairly slim as opposed to the higher protection level of these bulkier ones from Hellberg. This is probably one of the highest protection levels that you can get, but it's difficult to shoot rifle and shotgun with bulky hearing protectors as they interfere with the stock. For multidisciplinary use, most popular and reputable brands offer a fairly slimline solution in both passive, non-electronics, and electronic systems. The electronics are generally more expensive than the passive. Be careful of buying cheap when it comes to hearing protection. The damage is slow and insidious, and you can never reverse it once it's there. I personally have great difficulty hearing high-pitched things like a cell phone ring or certain alarm signals in the high-frequency range, and it's all due to hearing loss from being on the shooting range. The next most important thing is probably eye protection. Whether it's specs like my prescription lenses that I wear, make sure that the material that the lens is made of is resistant to impact. Polycarbonate and a host of newer varieties exist today. You don't want something that's going to fracture and cause shrapnel in the event that it is struck by a fragment or even a substantial bullet. Over the years, I've had a variety of different solutions, and what I've come to realize is that when you're selecting eye protection, you need adequate protection from the front, and these are about as small as I would recommend anybody gets. Tiny glasses are not good, they don't give you enough protection. A wraparound solution like this gives very good side protection from anything coming in from the side. I always select a set of spectacles or glasses that has a very flat temple, and the reason for that is when you put on your hearing protectors, they cause pressure on the side, and if the temples are too thick, it gives you a headache very, very quickly. Rudy Project I wore for many years. This set has got prescription lenses from Rudy Project that are photochromic and get dark in the bright sun. And these served me well until my eyes deteriorated a little bit more. But a quality set like this lasted me in excess of 10 years. A variety of brands, including these Rudy Projects, come with multiple lenses. Clear, slightly darker. There's a red or rose tint for typically shotgun shooting to pick up the contrast on the clays. Yellow for nighttime or indoor use, and a general dark lens for bright light. So these lenses are easily interchangeable, and if you need prescription, there's an insert that's available from them. In most of the brands, they have similar solutions that fits behind those, so you get all of the protection from the Rudy Project, and your script comes through on that. That was a different solution. Way back when I started shooting, Ray-Bans were popular. A lot of these things were not yet around, and the Ray-Ban shooter gave me a lot of benefit with a brow bar to keep the glasses away from my face to allow ventilation so that they didn't mist up, and very flat temples that hooked around the ears and kept it in place no matter how fast I was running, tripping or falling. The downside for me of these is my perspiration is apparently quite corrosive, so the frames themselves and the temples just didn't last too long before they started corroding, and once they get rough, they irritate your skin immensely, and it's not fun. These days, as my eyes have aged, I tend to shoot with my spectacles, and I have a dedicated set for the shooting range that's photochromic to help with the bright light. An often overlooked piece of the PPE is a cap in whatever your favorite brand is, whatever your favorite drink is. You can choose. There's a variety of these available today. And the advantage of this is it keeps the sun out of your eyes, obviously, but most importantly, it prevents hot, spent cases that are ejected from your firearm from falling down between your glasses, burning your eyes and causing you to do something silly while you've got a loaded firearm in your hand. The peak is the main benefit from preventing that problem. Because practical shooting is dynamic, you're moving around, you're shooting from different positions, including lying on the ground, it's an advantage to sometimes use a knee pad or a set of knee pads and or elbow pads, so that when you go down into a prone position and the ground is rough, gravelly or rocky, that you don't end up with holes in uncomfortable places. IPSC is not only about the competitive world, but there's also an element required of range building or range preparation, and that's where a set of gloves can come into good effect when you're moving rough or heavy equipment, so that your trigger finger especially and your gripping hand remains undamaged to give you peak performance for your competition. Lastly, closed shoes are important on the range, again to prevent hot brass getting in amongst your toes and your feet and burning and causing you to do something silly with a loaded firearm in your hand. There's other benefits as well, of course, moving around the range so that your shoes stay on and you don't slip, or it reduces the chance of slipping or stubbing your toes, but closed shoes are also important. I hope you found this episode interesting, informative and thought-provoking, and that it will help you select the right protective equipment to keep you safe for many, many years on the range. A lot of this stuff is available from Shooting Stuff. We're here giving you more time to shoot.